What is going on, guys? And tonight we are back in the mix. Tonight we're playing a little 10-20 standard mix for you guys here. I think I got a hand, so let's play this hand first. We're playing Deuce 7 Drawmaha. One card jack under the gun here. We're going to fold, even though it is double suited. And we are technically five-handed right now. But let's see here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 games. Deuce 7 Drawmaha, PLO cap, Badacey, limit Omaha 8, Deuce 7 triple draw, Ace 5 Razz, Big O cap, Badugi, Badeucey, Deuce 7, and stud 8 or better. That is a mouthful. But let's play some mix tonight. Let's see here. It looks like Phenom got their leaderboard going, so let's show this one over here if I can pull this one up. But it looks like they have their... Oh, I can't put the window on that one yet. But it looks like they got their leaderboard going. So if any grinders are out there looking to put some volume in, they got it going. See if I can get something showing here in a little bit. As always, if you guys like what you see, please like and subscribe. If you guys have any questions or comments, put them down below. We'll get back to this in a second. Deuce 7 Drawmaha here. We're just going to call with a straight draw. We're going to check call. We don't like the fact that 2 8s are out there. We do have a pretty pure draw, so we're going to check call. See if we can find a magical 8 there somewhere. No, we don't. We pair deuces. And we're just going to check, I think, give up, because we do run into a fair bit of 8s, I think, on this board. So, and we don't have a flush draw or straight draw. So with the pair, we're done. If you guys are looking to open a Phenom account, please use the link below, or when you sign up, use code LMG for Learn Mix Games. If anyone is looking for up to 1 hour of play lesson review, you can always record it and send it to me. And then I can go over it with you, or I can go over it myself. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on the docket right now, but hopefully we got a good video coming out here this week or next week. But yeah, the mix games have been picking up. Let's see what they got going right now. They had a couple when I looked last, but I currently do not know what's going on. Let's see, leaderboard, ring game, standard mix, no limit. They go, no limit. Some fun mix. Big O has been really popular on here lately. I've been having 3 or 4 tables go at any given time. It's been kind of interesting to see. All right, Drawmaha Deuce 7 here on the button. Queen low, 10 draw, double suited. So sometimes we'll keep the queen, sometimes we won't. I'm going to call here in position and see a flop and then decide. And on this board, I think it's kind of close to see what we do here. Going to go ahead and call either way, I think, and then see what our opponent does. He draws 1. I think we're going to stand pat with the queen, because now we're opening with the 10. We have a backdoor spade draw 2, plus we have a pair. And then we're just going to pretty much, I think, get this hand to showdown at this point. The 10 with a queen. And we hold up, it looks like, for the high portion, but he made a pretty strong hand. We're in the 8 low and the flush draw there. So we got lucky. 9, 3, 7, 8 double suited here. I'm going to say that this is probably, we're going to open this one with the, I mean, one of the good rules I think in this game is yeah, this board texture, I think it's pretty favorable to me, but I think too, like, I don't block really anything except the bottom pair here. No flush draw, no nothing else. So I think I'm going to go ahead and check once and then maybe bluff a later turn or river. I think that's not the turn. I don't have any hearts either. And I think I'm just going to give up on this one. I have a little showdown value with the 7 on the flop, but obviously not much, and I really can't call too many bets, but just going to give that one up. But again, in the PLO cap portion of this game, we do a ton of limping. Structure of this hand, I have to believe that we're just kind of like open raising more often than not, and then like giving up to any action. It's kind of like a bluff. I would say like some semi-bluff open with the blockers with ace-king. I think I'm just going to check this one. Don't really have any significant diamonds, no pairs. Really pretty good card for our opponent here in the big blind, honestly. Again, have one of the worst combos. I think I'm probably just going to give up most of the time. And just check fold again. Gonna check that 7893. I'm pretty sure that's an open. I don't know if it's a limp or not. But again, there's so much good stuff for PLO cap now, or just PLO in general with respect to like run it once or PLO Mastermind. So again, I always highly recommend those. Jack 10 3 5 here. I think on this board texture here, like with the 3 and the 5, it hits probably me just a little bit more than him. Obviously, I think the queen is kind of like interesting for his range, but and bet flop, and then on turn, I think I'm just going to barrel again. There's not, I have more of the 6-4 combos and 2 pairs, I think, on this board versus this limp. So I'm going to put him, I think, in a tough spot by betting turn again. If the turn was like a high card that I didn't have 2 pair, I think it's obviously more beneficial to him, and I'm probably just going to give up. Or maybe not give up per se, but I'd probably throw a lot more checks in there. E9, 3, 10, I think out of position was a fold. Pretty rough hand, OOP. Plus big blind here can jam with his size pretty easily, I think. Jack 6, 9, 2. This one's going to be a muck. Do play a lot of hands on the button. My guess is in a 1.5 big blind ante. I think it's probably somewhere upwards of like 60% we play on the button is my guess in a GTO world. But again, it's slightly different because again, your opponents, unlike most of the PLO cap games, can make it excuse me. They can make it 5x as opposed to 3.5x. So your range is a little bit different. Ranges are just slightly different because they can make it just a little bit bigger. Kind of a benign round there. All right, Badacey, 3, 4, 6 here in the hijack. Technically, this is gonna be an open under the gun. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is the best slow hand. 4, 3, 2 ace is the best Badugi. There is no qualifier. No real improvement in this situation, but I think against an under the gun versus big blind draw, I think I'm going to go ahead and bet this one with 3 card 6, somewhat close. Make 2, 3, 6, 4, 8. And if check 2, we're going to bet, and if he leads out, we're going to just call. What is interesting is let his time bank run down. Like, part of me wants to check here, but at the same time too, like going from 2 to pat and then calling, I think is kind of crazy. And then here in position, we just keep the 8. And then once he checks, I think he could have some check raises here too. I might just go ahead and check this one back with some side to both of it. And he has ace 3, 7, so we do scoop. I don't really expect to get called there on the river by that hand. So I don't think I have any I don't think I have any too much value in betting that river. I think the value would be trying to get a better hand to fold one way or the other, but I don't really know if I get one as played. We have a 5-way pot here in Badeucey, which is something you don't see every day. But this is the adventure of the mixed games. And it's going to go crazy. We've got a 4-bet, and it's going to go 1 pat 2 1. I have 2 3s, and I threw away 2 3s, so man, this is I mean, I would expect Donkey to basically have a wheel Badugi, or I mean a 100%. I would say like most likely Donkey has a 5 Badugi 100% of the time or better here, because going 4 bets on the turn with that one would be pretty crazy. I guess 6 Badugi is okay, but she got scooped, and that's why, like, Zip over here has a monster. He's got basically six low, 6 Badugi, and almost perfect on both sides. 6 perfect Badugi. Ace deuce 5, 3 card here. We're never folding. I think this, I don't know how much tilt this is, but with this cold call in the middle here, I think we're just going to go ahead and 4-bet. And this player's all in too, so we're not really doing much else but taking 2 out of position. Just want to kind of like build my equity here. And then if I actually do catch a big hand here, I'm not quite sure if I would go ahead for the check, but once we don't improve and we make 9-8, I think we're just going to start with a check. And like Josh does this a lot. And I think we're just kind of force here, call, and draw one more. Because he obviously the people who put the most action in goes 2-2-2, and then Josh takes 3 and then leads out. And this doesn't have to be a Badugi. This can just be like kind of some random hand. This is player dependent. Obviously, again, like he does take 1 here, but there's a lot of money in the pot, and I think he like overdoes it a little bit. This could be a big hand, but I doubt it. I think when it goes like bet, raise, call, he should just go ahead and jam a really, really big hand, but we don't improve again. It goes 1-1-1. I think we just have to check fold. We're up against a Badugi somewhere, even though there is a lot of money in the pot. And then Zip leads. So my guess is like he doesn't have a Badugi 100% of the time here. Yeah. So he had a wheel draw, and obviously he had like a 2 card and then made it on the river, and then Donkey had a 6 Badugi over here as well. So but Zip had all the hearts we needed, plus Donkey had the other one, so kind of the way it goes sometimes. But I think it's one of those adjustments that players need to make occasionally, is when you have an opponent who can be relatively wide with their draws. And you guys get a chance, go over to Chris Fitch's channel on YouTube. He's at Death Donkey. And I would go watch. Oh man, Josh made 7-7 or still ran 6-6. Just running good. Ace, do we have ace 3-7? No, we don't. We have 2 7s here in the cutoff. This might be a little close with the 7 blockers. I think I'm still going to fold this one. I probably want like something a little bit lower to go with the blocker size to open here and draw 3. But Chris talks about like in if you're using something like Munker Solver, what Munker Solver does if your opponent is like limping way too much in anything that's like, I wouldn't say marginal, but definitely on the plus EV side, it's just jamming to try to punish those. It's very similar like the stud. I would say a stud, like a Razz hand. If 2 people have like low cards and your opponent has a face card and he doesn't want to let, or he or she doesn't want to let that card go, what you're usually doing is you're just usually putting in a ton of action with that hand. You're usually just punishing the person in between. Because you both usually have over 33%, and the person who is calling with the face card is usually under 20. So in a situation like that, you should just be absolutely jamming and punishing the, I don't want to say like, what's the word? It's like kind of like colluding, but not colluding kind of thing. And kind of the same situation, I would say, like what a solver occasionally does. King deuce 3-4, limit 08. Obviously, 3 cards, 8 or better on the board, unpaired, +2 in your hand that do not pair the board. You make the low. King deuce 3-4 Badugi is obviously not the best hand, but we still defend with it, especially against this range. I always pick Josh here to bet at a very, very high clip on this board. So we're going to go ahead and check raise it. Quads is obviously a good hand. And not really doing any checking there. I think once I check raise flop, I think I'm just going to go ahead and bet 100% on turn. When the board pairs like that, that is. King deuce jack 4. Again, and against Josh open, like I kind of want to call out a position here, but I think this hand is just a little bit too weak. But I think its range is pretty wide. Again, this is just, I would say, like sometimes if you start playing these hands, these are like good adjustments to consider making against opponents that are wide. Would have flopped a pretty nice hand there. Deuce 4 with flush draw over cards. 10, 3, 7, 8 on the button is a fold. 2 disconnected. I don't even think we would open the double suited here. And looks like they chop it. Deuce 5. How did they chop it? Usually I'd see it instantly. I didn't see that one. Sorry, 1 second. Obviously ace 3 4 8 here we're gonna raise. Oh, he's got ace 7 low. That's how they chopped it. Josh had ace 7 low. Josh 3 bets, donkey calls. I think we're just gonna call in position here. Hand's kind of like good but not great. Flop nut low, middle pair, donkey raises here. I'm just gonna most likely just jam in the situation and obviously not the best turn. Where do these aces come from? Donkey bets here, but we're now folding with aces up in a live 4, and I don't really see a lot of value in raising, just in case we did run into 4-5. If donkey checks here, I think I actually bet my hand, but when she bets, again, not much to do except call. And she's got second nut low, but we do hold with aces up. Or sorry, not second nut low, she's got 5-6. I thought she had 6-4. Don't hate her play on the flop for what it's worth. I think her play is actually quite good. She flops, let me see if I can pull this one up. Give me a second. Second here. Okay. I'm using a new, sorry, 1 sec. I'm using a new recording system, so I'm just getting used to it over here. But you can see on the turn she flopped 2 pair with 5-6. So I actually think her raise on the flop is pretty good. All right, 10, 10, 3, 7 here against Josh, and cold call, easy call, no big blind. If we got 3-bet, it would be a little bit more interesting, but I think there's not too much deeper on this board. Backdoor diamonds and a 3-7 low draw. Now, if Reducco bets here, I think it would be kind of a tough spot. Just checking, I think we're just going to go ahead and check back. When Josh bets, I think we actually call turn because we have some outs, obviously with a 10, maybe with a jack. We have some low cards here with 3-7. We're getting a decent price. We're almost getting 4-1 here, so I think calling is fine. And now on the river here, I think we just check. And he bets again. I'm thinking of just making a really light call down here. I mean, this is definitely one of the worst hands I have. I think I'm going to make a really light call down, but I expect to see a jack, I think, most of the time. Yeah, I mean, this hand is, I mean, I don't know, probably bottom 2%, something like that. So obviously he gets away with it there, but yeah, not much else to really say about that. Like, I guess I can theoretically just fold my hand on the river, but Yeah, not much to do. I'm going to 3-bet out of position here with the deuce 4-7. You can see that Josh's ranges are a little bit messy, we'll say. We catch a wheel draw. Check out of position here with the pair. Draw one more. And I can, in theory, go for the check raise, but I'm going to try and go for the bet raise. Yeah, we're going to go for the bet raise here with a 7. And he pips me by 1. He might have honestly caught the deuce on the river. I think Josh is pretty aggressive with his pure draws, I would say. So, yeah, there's a really good chance he just caught the deuce. But with respect to his cold call there with number 3, I think it's okay. I think it's probably okay. I mean, number 3 bet raise 3-bet. Yeah, I think it's kind of close. I mean, I'm trying to think of what my worst 3-betting hand there is, and it's probably one of the best 8-6s. So again, if that's the case, then it's just really close. Just trying to watch the action, just trying to see 2-2. Check call 2-1. And Josh takes it. If this is still like a reasonable draw, I think Donkey there's probably supposed to check call and draw 2 again a fair bit, but if she's got one of her worst draws, then it might be okay to fold. I think people also, yeah, I also think there's some situations where it's supposed to draw 1 at like a 10, maybe a jack, and I think people just overfold that spot a little bit. Four, five, seven, 8 here in the small blind is usually going to be a fold. Straight draws are never good. We don't have a deuce, obviously. If we had 3, 5, 7, 8 against Josh even out of position here, I think this is just a 3-bet play. Goes 2-2, goes for a check raise, so he's usually pat here, I would say. And then Josh doesn't improve. Looks like he bets on improve and then check fold, or still bets, calls, and then folds. Where I did that earlier in Badacey, my hand was a little bit different because, again, I have Badugi equity with the 3 card under the gun versus the big blind cold call 2 range. And I still should be, I think, checking back at a decent frequency. But in deuce to 7 there, when you don't improve, if you don't have, I would say, like significant blockers, usually what you're doing is you're just usually checking back again. Because something like that, you don't want to get check raised. So if your opponent, and Zip here makes a really good adjustment, because obviously Josh bet unimproved in that situation. He got the check raise in. But even if folded to here, we're not opening this hand. Zip has a 4, so like if this was an 8 and an 8, I'd be more inclined to, even though I'm not going to steal, I think, with the 4-4 jack, because Josh is super, super sticky. I think Zip will probably play okay in this spot. But Josh is just super, super sticky, and I don't want to get involved in a hand with very little equity against an 8. And wouldn't mind having like an ace in my hand there, so I like 2 cards to a wheel. So But I feel like actually if this is definitely one of Josh's best games, so you definitely see him playing a lot of Razz hands. It's one of those games too where, you know, if the board runs out really well for him, then he can just drive action. Oh, we're playing Ace 5 Razz too. I forgot to mention that. So this is 5-4-3-2 Ace. Ace is low in this game, not high. Straights and flushes do not count against you. That's kind of cool. I'm looking at the Grand Prix right now. So they're leaderboard. Just 9. It's kind of interesting one. It looks like Josh checked back 9-7 there against what would appear to be a 9, something like a 9-5 draw. I think Josh's hand is actually a bet on the river for what it's worth. I think it's take a look. He's 9-7 3 deuce ace against a 9-5 draw. Zoinks has an interesting, or Zip has an interesting spot there actually with 9-6. I think he checked back. Unless Josh is like theoretically trying to get him to just bet worse. Like if he has him somehow drawing dead. Looks like Zip must have had a brick in the hole. Because usually even when like Josh catches okay there, I think if you got a you have a decent hand, I think you're still continuing even with the pair there. Big O. It's basically 5-card Omaha high-low pot limit with a $200 cap in this game, so 40 big bets at the 10-20. And they strip the blinds here, so see again, there's another big ante in the middle. But one of the you're still looking for aces most of the time, an ace in your hand most of the time in this game. Again, just like we've said in the past, it's just like a little mini joker. Ace 4 6 8 8. I think if I get the chance here, I'm going to go ahead and call. Again, there's a big ante here. We have a lot of even if you excluded the antes here, I think in the Big O PLO8 games for the most part, the ante is I think this is one we can actually give up to a 5x. It's not double suited. We're out of position, and we have to get like kind of specific boards, so we're just going to go ahead and fold. And again, we definitely should play trapping in this game if our opponents are just going to 5x it or 6x it against us, because we can just lower the SPR. But even in the normal Big O and PLO8 games, if you look at what I think what a solver would do is it actually has a fair bit of limps. So, you know, even when you start adding in limps with 1.5 big bets, you're yeah, you definitely have a ton of limps in your range too. King 9 10 6. I think I just kind of folded without seeing the action, but if it was raised, I think this is just a clear fold. If reduce go, I think actually calling here is probably reasonable, but I just kind of folded without thinking. Ace deuce 4 3 7. I gotta see the action pre-flop. I gotta see how that one went. Ace 3 7 9 9 with the triple suit here. I think we're again. I think we're still limping with the ante size. But how did this one go down? So Reduce-Go did 3x, and then Zip called with the Jack 2 7 3. Yeah, Zip code's just hand as a fold pre-flop. I mean, not that it really matters too much. In Josh's hand, what did Josh have? Ace deuce 4 king 9. He could theoretically go ahead and jam, I think. I would go ahead and probably just jam his hand on the flop, actually, Cusco's hand. Donkey makes a small raise. Not quite sure why it was such a small raise. We get a flop where we do flop nut low, but we don't really have much else with it. We have no other gut shot, no backdoor flush draw, so this is a spot where I think we just give up. I mean, if Donkey's going to raise, I think out of position there, I think she probably should just pot it. It's kind of like almost min-raising with her hand. I don't think that's necessarily good. Again, against Josh here, I think in this situation, against his limp, I think we're going to go ahead and pot this one, even though we don't have an ace in our hand. I think against his range, like our hand is doing just fine. We flop like a low wrap in this situation. Plus, I don't think he's got too many tens. Plus, I do block a 10. So I'm going to bet. I start with like 2/3 pot on this board. Honestly, that's a really bad card. I feel like when Josh calls me on the flop and pots 132. Man, it's kind of a gross one here, but I think I'm going to shove it against him. It does work. Like, again, against a normal range, I feel like I should just be doing some shoving here. But when I have the 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't block an ace. I don't block a king. I don't block clubs. I don't block diamonds. It's kind of one of those spots where, like, I feel like I'm going to get called off there pretty light. It does seem like it would be an interesting hand for, I think like Josh could have high cards there too, something like he limps with. But it's like I kind of want to see a river anyways because I have the nut low wrap, even though I don't have a wheel draw. I mean, I could actually be in a really, really bad spot. I think both these guys at this stacked up getting it in is totally fine. And Donkey does make kings up and nut low and scoops. But yeah, at 40 big bets, the double suited ace deuce 3 king is just so strong. And then obviously ace ace deuce 4 double suited is super strong. But not much you can do there at that stack depth. One just cooler is the other realistically. Badugi 4-3-2 ace is the best low hand. Hijack here with ace 3. Blocking a deuce. I think this is close, but I think I'm going to go ahead and open this one. One, two. No realistic improvement here. Start with a call. 1, 2. I think I'm going to turn my hand into a bluff now. And the reason being is because, well, unfortunately now when I get 3-bet, I think I have to just fold my hand. But one of the reasons I wanted to turn my hand into a bluff here is because I'm theoretically blocking all the cards that she can call me with on the river. So if I raise in this situation, she calls and she draws 1, and I pat and I bet river, and she still has a 3 card. I'm blocking a lot of the hands that she can theoretically call me with when I make aces and 3s, and obviously I had another deuce in my hand too. So when I get 3-bet usually in that situation, that's usually a Badugi. Because if it's not a Badugi, like I don't have that many raise bluffs or like raise folds, I would say. And I think we're on. Are we close to the Badeucey? I forget what we started with. Maybe it was Drawmaha deuce to 7. I can't remember. 3 card 9 here against Josh's open. We're just gonna call for a 1 out of position. Check call. We can improve and reduce our 3 card here. This is definitely one of the worst we have. And in this spot here with the 9, I think we're still getting the right price against a 1-1 here to draw. And again, we can still reduce to a 5. We do make the 8. So I'm going to go ahead and bet. He does make a queen. We could have made a 3 and tied, a deuce or ace reduced in 1 as well. But I don't know if that call is a pure call against every opponent, but Actually, it probably is if they're opening a correct range, because they should have like 3-card 8s, 7s, 6s there. So I think theoretically we can reduce at a decent bit and make up for the price that we're getting. I think we're still getting roughly 4-1, so we only need 20% equity against that range. All right, Baducey. 75432 is the best low. 5432 is the best Badugi. I don't think I've ever seen this. Oh, well, looks like we might not. This is a no qualifying split pot game. Means it doesn't, unlike 8 or better games, you don't need to qualify. There's always going to be half of a pot for the Badugi side, half the pot for the deuce to 7. That's 2-3, 2-1. Interesting, and a check fold against the 2-1. I would say usually that hand seems to be a I guess if I had to guess this hand, it's usually like a 1-card draw that's like a 2-tone hand. So, maybe like an 8 with an 8 draw with only like a 2 suit instead of a 3 suit, because I don't think that hand really is like ever a fold. I think we started with PLO capped, if I'm not mistaken. So then we're going to play Badeucey stud 8 and then Drawmaha deuce to 7, and then we will call it. What action here? 0-1. Now, again, in this situation, sometimes where it goes a little bit crazy, if you actually have a really good Badugi, jamming is totally fine, but you can actually do some like tricky traps, I would say, too. Ooh, interesting. And Josh made a better 8-8 than Zoinks. Pretty much a raggedy hand here. Not calling any bets. Oh, I mean, I will check it if given the opportunity, but let's say it's pretty rare to get the check draw 4, check draw 5, so. All in. And that hand's gonna scoop. Sometimes Jack holds up. But his 3-card obviously was pretty good on its own with a 3-card 6. I think he had 2-3-6. 2-4 here with 3-4s still. Not much we're doing in spot. We're just gonna go ahead and fold our hand. Even against a 3-bet. Again, you could make the argument against Josh, against a pretty aggressive player, that calling and like drawing 3 is probably okay with some blockers here, but I think obviously against the 3-bet, there's just no chance we're playing this one. Oh, interesting. And Josh makes 8 and a 7. Honestly, his hand is kind of an interesting one to consider check raising on the river. I think he's got enough both ways, but it's one of those hands where he wants to like check raise for value, but he doesn't want to see a 3-bet. So, but in a 2-0 spot, like, I totally understand check calling. I would say 3-5-8 on the button, 3-card. Can just make a note that we're throwing away a jack and a 10, but Doesn't matter as much in this game as deuce to 7. We go 3-2. Improve to a, and Josh does, he overbet in the situation, but here we're still just drawing 1. Again, I would have some traps here. He bets and he calls. And if he draws here, I actually think what I'm supposed to do here is draw and break the 10, believe it or not. And we do make Jack. And we do get saved by the Badugi. The reason why is because I believe, like, we don't have, like, Badugi equity if we pad our hand. But if we break our hand, we add some Badugi equity to it. And like I said, we're giving up some deuce to 7 equity, but we're adding Badugi equity to it. So, and again, playability is we can make, we can still make a strong, we can still make a 8-8, a good 8-8. And if he bets river, we get to raise. So I believe we're deuce to 7 there in that situation. If he draws 1, we pat our hand. In Badeucey, I believe we just break. Deuce Jack 6 here even against 100%. I still think this is most likely a fold with the face card. It's close given the price. 6 to win 26. It's just going to be a hard one to play. Queen Jack 5 in the muck. Again, for all you stud lovers out there, need 5 cards in your hand unpaired to make a low. Other than that, the high hand in this game is going to scoop the pot. Same kind of thing here as I'm still going to fold. I think the queen with 2 low cards out there and 2 high cards that could still play back at us. Now, it was flipped here and I had the ace showing or the 4 showing. Most likely I would have opened my hand. But from, I wouldn't say first position, but I guess this technically is first position. I think I'm just going to get this one up. And then, yeah, this Reducco has to give his hand up on that board. Feels like unless he has like 2 pair mostly. All right, ace 3-5. We got one, found one we're going to play here. Could be doing a fair bit of 3-betting here against almost anyone with this combo. Josh going to open 8, 4-2 bets. Definitely going to 3-bet this one. Again, it's one of those spots where, like, yeah, well, let's just jam the equity at this point. And I think there was a 4 over here too, if I wasn't mistaken. We caught a 4, which is a beautiful card for us. And then now we're just gonna jam. I mean, this at this point, like, there's not much to do. Plus, like, the rest of the hand, now we get to play against Josh. We make a wheel on. Well, we make a wheel, but there's not much else to do. We just got to go ahead and hope he doesn't pair. And he doesn't pair. We scoop that one. All right. Yeah, he had queens and he made the queen on 4th Street, which it's unfortunate for Dusko, which is crazy because I think Donkey had a queen too. So kind of sneaky kind of 3 of a kind there. Another strong one here with ace deuce 4 with ace deuce in the hole. And again, if Josh doesn't 2-bet me here, I don't think he's got kings. You know, again, this is just kind of like a situational read. But we're still calling. If he checks, we're just going to bet because I think ace queen high here is good, a decent bit. Now we make number 2 low. We're just doing betting. We're just going to bet down. Yep, and we win that one. So my guess is Josh probably had probably like 2 low cards on the hole, maybe like 2 other high cards. 7, 8, 9 is an interesting one. I think I'm going to go ahead and implement a limp strategy in the spot. Because then if I limp in this situation too, I get to see 4 street against Josh. The fact that I do have a break in the hole, if Josh does bet here, I'm just going to go ahead and give this one up. Because obviously his board's a little bit better than mine. He still has, like, he has 100% of his range, meaning he has good hands, bad hands, obviously, but I have a break in the hole too, so. But again, that's one of those situations where, like, if I implement a limp strategy and I get to, and my opponent checks, I actually get to see 4 street for not much, because it's not like my opponent can go ahead and raise once he brings it in. So queen, so we're playing Drawmaha deuce 7 now. Start with a check here, and we are open-ended with a 1-card queen draw. And I think I'm going to go ahead and check call, and if Josh bets, I'm going to draw the queen. Again, he limped here, so I expect him to have, like, draw 2s. And I'm going to throw away the spade because I do have a backdoor queen. I flush draw if I do make a club. I'm not going to draw 2. I think drawing 1's probably better because I think he has, yeah, like, he draws 3 here. We make queen low and we make a full house, so pretty big hand at this point. Unless he's got, like, 7-7, which is kind of what he's repping at this point. I think I'm just going to call. This is kind of, I feel like it might be a really bad call. Get raised on the turn. I think I'm going to go ahead and bet the root. It's kind of close against draw 3. I mean, there's so many of the cards that he needs on this board to beat me with a low and what I have in my hand. Jack 8-5. He raised me with a straight 8-5, 8-9. No, he didn't, but he made a jack, which was interesting. And then he decided to raise me with no straight. Seems pretty bad. I probably should have called there, actually. I wasn't thinking. I thought he raised. But I have a 1-card jack draw, and I probably should have just thrown the money in when he limped. But Josh's hand here, if I go back and let's see here. Card jack on the button. Saves PLO next. And we'll play PLO. Well, the fact is there were just so many low cards out there that it was just one of those spots where, like, Josh might raise me with a full house, or maybe a 4, or maybe a straight, but it's so unlikely with all the low cards between my hand and the board that he has a better low than me. But yeah, what are we at right now? We're almost at 50 minutes, so I think we're going to call this one in a minute here when we get to our big blind. But again, as always, guys, if you like what you see, please like and subscribe. If you're looking to open a Phenom account, use the link below or use LMG at sign up. That helps me out, helps the channel, keeps it going. If you guys are looking to do a up to 1 hour review, sign up for Phenom account. 1 hour of yourself playing on here, I will review it. If you want to review it with me, you can. Also, if you guys want to get in hold of me, I have my email down below. It's it's learnmixedgames@gmail.com. As always, I always push the stuff for Chris too. So if you're looking for Chris's stuff, he's at DeathDonkey on YouTube, at DeathDonkey on X. And until then, I wish you guys luck at the tables. I will talk to you all soon. Play well. Bye-bye.